was glad to do it. Okay.
I'd like to welcome you all to the monthly business meeting of the Board of Education. And I would like to call this meeting to order. Would everybody stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence first, and then the Pledge of Allegiance. And Commissioner Evans, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the last board meeting, where we had two meetings, one on July 20, 2006, and the other one on August 9, 2006.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Evans and second by Commissioner Power. Are there any corrections to those minutes?
President Garcia, I'd just like to comment that I appreciate the in-depthness, if you will, of the minutes. I think that at these meetings that we should really capture what is being said by each board member for public record. So I just want to thank the staff for so adequately developing these minutes.
Any corrections to the minutes? There being none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? We'll move on then to speakers addressing an agenda item. And my note says that we have no speakers addressing an agenda item, so we'll move immediately then to the superintendent's report. Dr. Rivera.
Thank you, President Garcia. I have a report which I am distributing to you. I am not going to read every word that's in this particular report, but I would like to make some highlights. First of all, as you know, this is the first time that I believe we have ever televised our regular board meeting live, and this will be occurring every third Thursday, beginning at 6:30 p.m. And so I thought I'd actually take advantage of this fact and share some information tonight. Our next meeting won't be until September, so this is information that I think will be helpful to parents and the community. Just a reminder that schools will open for all students on Thursday, September 7th. That is when students will report, and it's hard to believe that summer is nearing an end and we'll be beginning another year with our young people. Letters containing information on student transportation are going to be mailed to the homes of elementary and secondary school students the week of August 21st, so that parents, if they have questions, can call our transportation department directly at 336-4000. Here's more good news. Secondary students will receive their schedules in the mail just before school starts, which will tell them where to report on the first day of school. And believe it or not, this is the first time for this procedure where all of our students get their schedules in advance before school. Parents with children who have not registered and enrolled for school may call 262-8453. We have 3 placement centers in the city that are open, one at 580 South Avenue, 836 Goodman Street North, and 30 Hart Street at the Family Learning Center. And these centers are open from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. daily, and on Thursday until 6 p.m. Also, good news is that this will be the first time that these centers will also be available to take care of secondary school, high school placement issues. In the past, we had one office here centrally where we managed all of those, and now we'll have more opportunity throughout the city to meet the needs of parents, and that will certainly reduce waiting line for students at the secondary level. And of course, parents are reminded to bring birth certificate, immunization records, proof of address, transcript, or report card from previous school. Another big change, in the budget process, we shared with you some of our changes at the high school level, and we are moving in several high schools to change the start time by 1 hour. So students will actually begin school at 8:30 a.m. and go until 3. And those schools that will be involved in this high school change and start time will be the schools at Franklin, the Bioscience and Health Career High School at Franklin, the Global Media Arts School at Franklin, the International Finance School at Franklin, Dr. Freddie Thomas High School, the Frederick Douglass Prep School, and our 2 College Board schools, the College Board High School at Freddie Thomas and the Northwest College Preparatory High School at John Marshall. And as you know, more of these schools, more of these students will actually now be transported by RTS in lieu of the typical yellow school buses, and we're actually really pleased with that contract. As you know, those school buses, they run throughout the day, and students will have passes that they'll be able to use in the morning until 7 p.m. This will help tremendously with participation in after-school programs. These buses have more room, they're air-conditioned, and we feel, based on our experience with operating with RTS with other high schools over the past several years, that this is going to work well. The district calendar is going to be mailed to the homes of families beginning August 21st. And just a few other items. As we gear up for the opening of school, tonight, for example, you will vote on a number of resolutions for both the hire of new administrators as well as new teachers in a system as large as ours, where you have 19 high schools and 39 elementary schools, and the many departments and offices that serve those schools. There are opportunities that arise due to attrition, other movements, changes that people make, and we'll be voting on a number of administrative appointments today, and I'll be looking forward to recognizing some of the folks who are here tonight. But coincidentally, we've hired at least 300 new teachers into our system this year. And typically at the end of September, I come back to you with a more detailed report about our hiring patterns, including information about race, ethnicity, as well as certification area and where some of the greatest needs have been. We've also been advancing changes in food services. I'm not going to go through the menus today, but I will say that I'm pleased that more of our elementary schools will be serving hot breakfast and hot lunch more often for students. The same thing is happening in our high schools, and we're looking at making more nutritious food available in our schools, including higher quantities of fruits and vegetables. And we recognize the importance of nutrition as part of this effort and its role in improving student achievement. Last, I just wanted to let you know we've been concluding our summer school programs a week ago. A record number of students, over 6,000 students attended summer school in the city. And I don't know how familiar you are, but we actually had 800 of our high school students who participated in the Dell Techno program, where they actually had the opportunity to rebuild computers, and they learned how to repair and rebuild, and then they were able to take one home with them. It's really exciting, and since spring of '05, we've had more than 1,100 of our students complete this Dell Techno program and receive computers as well as learn a terrific skill. So these are just some highlights of both what's happened this summer as well as we gear up for the new school year. There's training that's taking place next week as everybody begins to report back We've got a major event for 3 days in a row with our school improvement planning teams and continuing with their professional development. And then staff, as they begin to report at the end of August and September, will be gearing up for the start of school. That is my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. Are there any questions for Dr. Rivera on his report?
Yes, President Garcia.
Commissioner Thompson.
Dr. Rivera, on page 4, regarding the non-food related improvements, the Youth Advisory Council that will give students a chance to express opinions about the menu,
Yes.
I would suggest that if it's not already in the works, that an education component precede that survey, just to give students some basic information about the connection between good, healthy diet and good health, so that they might respond to the survey from a more informed position.
Great suggestion. Thank you.
President Garcia, I have a question.
Commissioner Elliott.
Couple of questions I have, Superintendent Rivera. One is in reference to the dropout rate.
Sure.
If the graduation rate is 52%, then I would conclude that the dropout rate is 48%. But in some of your documents, you note that there's an 8.7% dropout rate. Could you explain that, please?
Let me try. The dropout rate is based on annual enrollment. The graduation rate, they actually track a cohort, a group of students at 9th grade level, and then 4 years later, what percentage of those students actually are graduating. But let me ask, Kim, could you provide, or is there a member of your staff who could provide more detailed information on that? Sure.
And then, while
Please.
she's going.
Yeah, just hold your next question, please. Allow her to give a response.
As the superintendent indicated, the graduation rate is the number of students in the cohort that actually graduates with a local region's diploma. And the dropout rate is the number of students who started in the district in 9th grade but left without earning a diploma during their high school years. In reference to, I think you indicated the 52%, the 52% represents the cohort 2000 data, which equals 1,856 students. And out of that 1,852 students, 56 students, 960 students received diplomas.
All right, define what you mean by left the district.
Left, meaning went to another program, went to another school district, may have exited the district and chose to go to another program.
Then I guess the question becomes, why is 48% leaving the district? That may be something for future reference, that we're losing so many of our children. And if there's something that we are not doing well, that are compelling our children to leave our district, that may be something for us to consider.
The question being, why are so many kids leaving the district, Dr. Rivera?
Just nationally, it's a phenomenon. There's a big front page story in Time magazine regarding the fact that 35% of young people who enter at 9th grade do not complete high school. But it is more severe, of course, in urban areas, at least based on the data. And what we do see is that the fact that more kids do drop out. I think it's important. The board, our board, commissioned a major study tracking the cohort. It was 2006. And the kind of data that we need more precise information about is exactly what you've asked. Where are they going? Where do they go? And why? And that's one of the things that we are working on now, at least with that one particular cohort. And I also believe that we need systems in place to allow us to better track what happens to some of those young people.
And we anticipate receiving that information on cohort 2006 at the Quality Assurance Committee table this fall.
But can I also add that for the upcoming school year, one of the things that we are going to be doing through the Research Evaluation and Testing Department is looking at high school data more in depth and looking at tracking where these students are going, determining if they're going into college, 2-year programs, 4-year programs. So we will be able to provide that data for you in the future.
Thank you.
If I could just one last comment?
Yes.
One last comment. We are involved right now in a major update of our strategic plan. One of the exercises that we are going through is a detailed review of that data and even breaking it down further. So we're going to be yielding, there's going to be some rich data and information that will inform what we do with our strategic plan and what we identify as strategies to retain and keep kids in high school. So all of this is linked to the work that's unfolding right now over the course of the next 60 to 90 days.
Couple of the questions, President Garcia.
Let me see if anybody else has any.
Sure.
Commissioner Powell, Evans, Brennan, Henley. Go ahead, Commissioner Elia. What-
Additional information I would like to have is absolute dropout rate numbers in addition to the trend. Here, it doesn't give me as much information as I would like to have at this point. And then my last question in reference to your report, as we all know in this community, the Attorney General and the Controller have come out with some reports for a number of entities in this community. Superintendent Rivera, excuse me, do we have any recent information in terms of the report from the Attorney General Office or the Controller Office in reference to the city school district?
No, there is no update or information from them.
Thank you.
Then, if there are no other questions, then we'll move on to the board reports for the public information. I would just like to say that most of the work of the board is performed at committee meetings, and those committee meetings are, many of the resolutions in tonight's agenda are the results of those committee meetings. That gives us, at least gives us, the board commissioners, an opportunity to expand on different subjects at length. So we are going to begin then the standing committee reports, starting at my right with Commissioner Thompson.
As chair of the Quality Assurance Committee, I met recently with Community and Intergovernmental Relations Chair Malik Evans. We discussed quality assurance's general role, explored areas of common interest between the QA and Quality and Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committees, and considered possible joint ventures between our committees. I believe we are generally in agreement regarding the scope of QA, that it covers a vast range of work done by the Board of Education and administration. For example, the following is a list of what QA members see as the responsibilities of the committee. And please take note that these bulleted items don't replace the current responsibilities. Rather, they may likely be woven into the current responsibilities.
Commissioner Thompson, if I may, are you planning to recommend that the functions of the Quality Assurance Committee be expanded to include the things that you are going to mention?
Perhaps expanded and modified.
Well, then, this is not the forum to do that. The forum to do that is submitted to the members of the board and allow them for feedback, and then bring it up for discussion at maybe the next committee, the next board meeting, or a subsequent board meeting. And then at a following meeting, then the board will take a vote on whether or not it wants to expand the functions of the Quality Assurance Committee meeting. What I'm asking for right now is a report on the activities of the committee as it relates to resolutions on the agenda or any other item that may come to the board as part of the business meeting.
My understanding, President Garcia, is that the purpose of the reports is to give an update on the activity
Of the committee.
Excuse me, of the Quality Assurance Committee and the activity associated with that. And I, as chair, that's what I'm doing at this point, sharing information about the activity that I, as chair, have been involved with on behalf of the committee.
Exactly, but that's not the purpose of the report. The purpose of the report is to give a report of the Quality Assurance Committee activities. If you want to share your private and Commissioner Evans' private discussions related to the functions of both committees, give that information to the board members first.
Can I interject, President Garcia?
No, you may not at this moment. Give that information to the board members first, and then allow the board members to give you feedback on their sentiments on that information. You can inform us now that you had those discussions if you wish, but I'm not going to accept the recommendations at this level.
I'm not offering the recommendations. I'm offering a report on activity that has occurred on behalf of the QA committee, President Garcia. This is not an attempt to preempt the process by offering recommendations in advance of the process. This is a report on the activity on behalf of the Quality Assurance Committee.
But that's not what we need. We need a report on the activities of the Quality Assurance Committee. That's what we need, Commissioner Thompson.
May I interject point of information?
Yes, you may.
President Garcia, that is what we discussed in the QA committee. I, as being a member of that committee, we have had those discussions, and Commissioner Thompson is just reporting back on part of what we discussed in that committee meeting.
Then if you want to submit those discussions, submit them in writing so that the other board members would have an opportunity to review and ask for information on those discussions so that they could understand the process that you're trying to interject here much better.
Yes, this will also be provided to members that are not on the QA committee to invite their input.
Well, I would hope that you do that first, rather than just bringing it at a board meeting like you have done just now, Commissioner Thompson. But go ahead with your committee, Quality Assurance Committee report, please.
As I was saying, the items that I discussed on behalf of the Quality Assurance Committee with the chair of the Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committee, the items we discussed have to do with QA monitoring Board of Ed and district activities to ensure high standards, working with the board colleague and the superintendent to establish what necessary standards, standards that are necessary for high-quality practices, processes, and systems, work with our board colleagues and the superintendent to optimize the delivery of high-quality services and programs, provide status reports on these efforts, serve as the primary conduit between the Board of Ed and administration on issues related to quality assurance, and work with the standing committees to identify additional ways in which quality assurance can be woven into the fabric of each committee's work and throughout the district. And we identified a number of topics that...
Commissioner Thompson, I'm sorry, I have to stop you there. You're out of order.
How so, President Garcia?
You are not given the report of the committee, Commissioner Thompson.
President
If
Garcia,
the committee doesn't have a report, then I would recommend that you simply take your recommendations or the items that you discussed with Commissioner Evans and submit it to the rest of the board for their review and request for further information if they so desire. Then let us bring it up to the board for action. Because if you are in fact recommending that the whole function of the Quality Assurance Committee be changed, this is not the forum to do that, Commissioner Thompson.
Oh, and I'm not making that
Well,
recommendation here.
then,
I am reporting
but you are
on
not
the work of
reporting on the quality assurance activities. You're reporting on your activity with Commissioner Evans. That's not what we're here for.
President Garcia, I represent as the chair of quality assurance the work of the committee, and it was agreed by the QA committee that I would meet with the appropriate chairs of other committees to discuss possible ventures in our work. That is what I am reporting on, the work that I have done on behalf of QA.
Right, that's fine, and then you have reported that. Now, the specific of those discussions have to be shared with the rest of the board before you bring them up for discussion now.
I don't agree, I'm not bringing them up for discussion. I
Well-
am reporting out.
It's not the report to the committee.
I won't belabor this discussion, President Garcia.
I would like you to conclude your report, please.
I won't belabor this discussion. I will bring my report to a close in a moment. And I am recommending for the record that board governance take up the issue of what is appropriate to be included in a committee's report and what should be excluded, so that we don't have to have these kinds of protracted discussions. Following the next QA meeting on September 18th, I anticipate providing the board with what I believe will be a newly reworded committee mission, vision statement, and priority goals for possible implementation this fall. And one topic that came up at the QA committee meeting that I shared with Commissioner Evans is the possibility of bringing together the appropriate community players for a community forum on graduation. There'll be further discussion, and we'll be talking with the administration about this possible forum, and that discussion would include the objectives of such a forum, the content, the format, the dates, and other details. As I mentioned, Quality Assurance's next regular meeting is on Monday, September 18th at 6 p.m., and it's an open meeting. Members of the public are invited to attend. That concludes my report.
Commissioner Powell.
Yes, the Finance Committee has met, and we discussed resolutions that are numbered in our packet, number 140 through 157, and are recommending all of them for approval. We did not have monthly reports. It is traditional not to advance monthly reports through the summer. However, we do have a Student Activity Fund report that requires the board to accept it. May I make a motion?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the Student Activity Fund report. Are there any questions? There being none, all of those in favor of approving the report, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Abstention? There being none, the report passes 6-1.
Thank you. Our next Finance Committee meeting, I believe, is the first Thursday of September. Check the website for updates to the calendar. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Evans.
The Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committee met last night, August 17th. We heard an update from Rick Hannon, Chief of Special Projects and Intergovernmental Relations. We hope to be ready with new enabling legislation if the state legislature convenes before December. However, we understand that it's far more likely that we'll be looking to submit in January '07 with hopeful approval sometime in spring of '07. But we are thankful that we have strong support from David Gant in the Assembly and Joe Robach on the Senate side. At our September meeting, we plan to identify items for the legislative agenda of the board at the state and possibly federal levels. We will submit a proposal to the full board for consideration at our October 19th meeting. So we're going to follow the same timeline in terms of our legislative agenda that we followed last year and also the year before. Our legislative breakfasts have been extremely positive in the past, and we are working on our next event, tentative dates, and I would ask board members to hold these dates on their calendar. October 21st and October 28th, which are both Saturdays, and we traditionally have done these at 9 a.m. So I'd ask for board members to check those dates, and we'll get additional information out shortly on the exact date. Much of that will depend upon the legislators' schedules. I also mentioned at our CIGR meeting last night, the report that I received from the Council of Great City Schools, an organization that we pay dues to, and they submitted to me benefits to the Rochester City School District, return on investment on our dues. And I want to thank the Council of Great City Schools for doing that. Because of them and their advocacy during the 2005-2006 school year, they estimated contributions that have come into the district at over $5 million, which would equal to roughly $176.43 return for each dollar that we pay in dues. So that concludes my Community and Intergovernmental Relations Committee report. Another report, the Audit Committee, we met on 8/7, when did we meet? We met last month to select a new chair, which was myself, and we will meet again on September 13th at 6 p.m., and that concludes both of my reports.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Commissioner Henley?
The governance committee the board governance committee met on August 1st at 5:30. In that committee meeting, we discussed personnel committees, some of the past practice of personnel committees, and what, if we wanted to recommend a personnel committee, what that scope would be. Commissioner Elliott was going to have a draft vision statement for our next meeting. And the committee also discussed continuing discussion on changing the date of the business meeting. And I will discuss that with Commissioner Brennan at some point of the policy committee, maybe even after tonight's meeting if you're available. That is all.
Commissioner Brennan?
Since I haven't had a chance to talk to Jeff yet, there's no report. The policy committee won't be meeting, or has not met since our last meeting. I anticipate we will meet before the end of this calendar month, and so there's no report at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Brennan.
President Garcia, I have a question of one of the committees, if I can ask a question.
Yes, you may.
Of the Finance Committee, what's the reason that reports are not issued in summer months? Why aren't monthly reports, finance reports issued in the summer?
Commissioner Power?
It's tied into the end of the calendar, of the fiscal year, and the number of adjustments that are made at year end are too numerous to list. Is Susan Trippi here, or, there you are.
Ms. Trippi is going to respond.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell is exactly right. It's tied into our year-end closing process. Our fiscal year ends at the end of June. Grant years, though, stagger depending on the grant award dates, and so it does take us a few months to get the books closed at the end of the year, and that's why we don't issue final reports for the month of June.
All right, so how is the board apprised of the financial position over those 3 months, over those summer months?
In the September board meeting, we'll begin the process anew with showing any adjustments to the 06-07 budget process, and financials will begin issued again in the August board meeting. I'm sorry, in the September board meeting. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Trippi. We're going to be moving on then to the resolutions. We have a number of administrative and supervisory resolutions. So I will entertain a motion to approve resolutions resolutions 80 to resolution 107. I'll entertain motion resolution 80 to approve resolution 80 through resolution 107.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. These are personnel matters, so they're not discussed in public. So all of those in favor of approving resolution 80 through 107, please say aye.
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 Oppose?
I have some opposed, but I want to just also note that I do have some questions, not to be answered tonight, but to be followed up on. I have a question on, let me just say, Resolution 80 through 83. I vote yes on those resolutions. I have a question in reference to why we're paying an acting principal $126,000.
That's
wrong
resolution.
information?
This
Okay.
is out of order,
Okay.
Commissioner.
All right, thank you. Thank
You
you.
may ask that kind of information at an executive session where personal matters are discussed, but not here.
Okay, I'm not, let me just clarify, I'm not asking about it personally. Okay.
We-
Are you saying no or yes?
No,
I'm not
I-
asking about it personally.
No, we cannot answer that
Okay,
question.
all right, okay. So from Resolution 84 through Resolution 91, I'll vote yes on those. Resolution 92 to Resolution 99, I'll vote yes on those. 100, 101. And I'd like to know what an academy director is. So if you all can get me that information, I'd appreciate that. Resolution 102, I'll vote yes. Again, 103 to 106 and 7, I'll vote yes.
Do you have them? Thank you.
And did we include 108, or is that where you're going to start at?
We're going to start at
Thank
108
you.
now. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolutions 108 through 126. Again, these are certified teacher personnel appointments and changes.
So moved.
It's been moved and, who seconds?
Second.
It's been moved and second by Commissioner Evans and Henley. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Again, I have some opposition. I need to go through it. I have a question in reference to Resolution 108. What I'd like to get in terms of these new hires, these ones that are on probationary, how many of these new hires are African American, and how many of these new hires have demonstrated success of working in an urban environment? Resolution.
Hold on a second, let me think about that a little bit. I don't know if we have that information available.
What I indicated in my report was that at the end of September, we provide a summary, because we're still in the hiring process, and we'll continue hiring in the next 2 weeks. So we do one major report that will give you all of that information.
In September.
The teachers that we hire, they vary. Some come to us experienced, some who are right out of their master's program. So there's going to be a variability with regard to the levels of experience that they have.
And what the superintendent said is, you'll get a report at the end of September, we all will, as to the racial and ethnic makeup of all the teachers who are being hired.
I would also like for us to seriously consider giving preference to those candidates who have experience working in the urban environment. Superintendent Rivera. Resolution 109, 110, yes. 111, yes. In terms of 112, these in reference to resignations, and I've just got some concern with our resignations, and so at this point, I'll just vote no on Resolution 112, Resolution 113. My concern is the number of African Americans who are being terminated in this group, and the reasons why they're being terminated. I would like to see us to try to.
Commissioner Elliott,
All right.
that information was discussed at a special session for the board that we had about a week or so ago. Had you been present at that meeting, those questions would have been answered, but we cannot answer them now.
Well, I'm still going to ask those questions.
Well, the board
Get
approved.
it clear. I'm still going to ask those questions,
The
President.
board
Garcia.
approved these
I understand.
items.
I understand.
Fine.
Okay. Resolution 114 is yes. I'm voting no on Resolution 115. Resolution 116, yes. And I'm not sure how far else we went to, President Garcia.
126.
All right.
So
117 is yes. I have a question in terms of 117 through 119, in terms of why there's a change, and that goes on to 123, but my vote is yes. Why is the district asking for a change in with these resolutions? or there's an amendment.
Go ahead.
You up to what number?
126.
126? That goes with 123, 124, up until Resolution 126. My vote is yes.
Thank you. We'll move on then to non-certified staff resolutions 127 through 136. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolutions 127 through 136.
So moved.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstention?
I have a question on 136. What's the reason that we can rescind a termination for a civil service employee? If somebody can follow up on that question for me, it doesn't have to be answered here.
Fine. The rest of the resolutions, 137 through
170.
yes, 137 through 170. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 137 through 170.
President Garcia, could we separate Resolution 170 for the purpose of reading the resolution?
Yes, we can. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolutions 137 through 169.
So moved.
It's been moved and second. Who's second?
Commissioner Brennan.
Commissioner Brennan, thank you. It's been moved and second. Any questions related to any of those resolutions?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
For 137, I'd like to know why we have we're paying we're making additional payments to these contracts for Resolution 137. In reference to Resolution 138, my concern is that there's no dollar amount attached to this resolution. On Resolution 137, my vote is no. Resolution 138, my vote is no, because there's no dollar amount attached to that. In reference to Resolution 139, I have a question in terms of the process for open bids. 140, 141, 142, my vote is no. However, I'd like to know what E-rate funding year means. E-rate funding year 9, what that means. 143, yes. 144, 145 through 148, no. 149, yes. In reference to what I'd like to have the law department to provide me with is, what is the criteria for the statement contingent upon the form and terms of the agreement having been approved by council to the city school district? So if I can get the information in terms of the criteria we use in determining that statement. But 149 and 150 is yes. 150, we continued through 169, is that what it was?
Yes.
All right, thank you. In terms of resolutions 152 through 154, my vote will be yes, but my concern is this software culturally relevant? So I'd like to get information on the cultural relevance of these resolutions. In addition, 155, but my vote is yes for 155. 156 is yes. 157 is yes, but I'd like to, and I'll ask about that later. And 158, 159 is yes. I have a question in reference to 160, or a statement, I guess I should say. Superintendent Rivera, I would like for us to, at some point, where we're able to provide in-kind contribution of facilities for these organizations who are helping to support our children in the school district. So somewhere down the line, Superintendent Garcia, that we wouldn't have to charge a nonprofit organization money to use a facility, that we can in some way donate that to the organization, in that we're trying to provide the support to the children. So that's for future discussion. 160, and my vote is yes. Excuse me, my vote is no on 160. 161, 162 is yes. 163, no. 164, yes. 165, yes. 166 through 168 is yes. And 169 is no.
You have that. For the public information, I would like the public to know that this package of resolutions is delivered to each board member the last Friday before the board meeting. And all board members are requested to please review the packet of information and the resolutions included, and contact any of our 3 or 4 staff people who are readily available to research any questions or any or information, or to make any investigative research that is required by a board member as it relates to any of the items or the resolutions mentioned. All of our board members have hopefully done that and have read that information and have gotten their questions answered prior to the board meeting. And the reason that we do that is not to extend unnecessarily board meetings to an hour where everyone then is just too tired to really think straight and review these items that come up for discussion. But that's the process that we have used, and it has served us well for many, many years, and we will continue to use that process. Thank you.
May I also make a statement in reference to that, President Garcia?
Please don't.
When no statement is required, this is just an information item.
I would like to provide information as well, if that's
Under new
appropriate.
business, you can make a statement on whatever you wish.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 170, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Commissioner Powell, would you be so kind?
It would be my honor. This resolution is headed, Resolution Declaring September 2006 Act for Education Month in the Rochester City School District, Rochester, New York. Whereas 1 in 3 students across New York State do not graduate on time, and in many communities the graduation rate is even lower. And whereas New York State has the largest funding gap between high and low-income school districts and one of the highest student achievement gaps. And whereas the New York State Court of Appeals has ruled in the Campaign for Fiscal Equity case that the state of New York is failing in its constitutional obligation to provide all public school students in New York City with access to meaningful high school education, also known as sound basic education. And whereas New York City schools are not the only schools without adequate resources to provide all students access to meaningful high school education or sound basic education, and the constitutional obligation of New York State extends to Rochester students as well as students in New York City, and whereas the Court of Appeals specified significant increases in school funding are necessary to provide a meaningful high school education or sound basic education, and whereas increased education funding invested in proven educational strategies with clear accountability provisions is a sound strategy to increase educational outcomes, and whereas the proportion of total school funding in New York provided by the state government is at its lowest level in 50 years, and whereas the Rochester City School District is prohibited from levying property taxes for additional purposes and must rely upon its host city to do so on its behalf, And whereas the host city of Rochester is itself facing myriad fiscal pressures, there's a tremendous need to provide additional school funding through increased state aid rather than increased local taxes. And whereas we wish to show support for a statewide resolution of the Campaign for Fiscal Equity case that includes the fairer state school aid formula and significant increases to state aid provided to local schools based on student need combined with accountability to ensure educational results, be it resolved that the Rochester Board of Education hereby declares September 2006 to be Act for Education Month in the Rochester City School District. And might I add that thank you to Dr. Rivera for following up on the request to craft a resolution. Ordinarily, I abhor resolutions that go on for pages, but this is all important, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm going to correct the mistake that I made on the previous set of resolutions, and that is that the only person who voted was Commissioner Elliott. I didn't ask anybody else how they voted, so let me go back and correct that. All those in favor of approving the previous resolutions up to 169, please say aye.
Aye.
I have
And
two no
then-
votes.
Huh?
I have two no votes on 158 and 159.
158 and 152 no votes, and then the votes reflected by Commissioner Elliott. Are you straight? Thank you. All of those in favor of approving the Resolution 170, please say aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions, abstention? No, it passes 7-0. I'm going to provide Dr. Rivera with an opportunity to make some recognitions of the changes in administrative personnel.
Sure. Before I do, Mr. Luby, did you have something you wanted to address here?
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. The board knows, but we have a large audience tonight, and we are on tape, so I did want to say with reference to Commissioner Powell's reading of Resolution Number 170, that this is part of a long-standing commitment on the part of this Board of Education, that the Rochester Board of Education voted nearly 3 years ago to join with the City of New York and with the CFE people in seeking the Court of Appeals resolution that came down about 2 years ago now, and that we did appear as an amicus curiae in the Court of Appeals. We were the first and only city outside of New York City to join in that case. So this is a continuation of a commitment that the board has been making for several years now.
Thank you, Mr. Luby. I'm glad you made that statement. There are 27 administrative appointments tonight, and so I'm going to try to hopefully recognize those of you who are here, and it may seem a little bit out of order. I'm going to go down from the top of the list and work my way down. There are appointments here tonight for people who had been in acting roles, who were permanently appointed. Others are serving in acting roles, and others are newly appointed in new roles and new positions. Let me begin by asking is Joyce Schultz here? Joyce? Joyce, could you stand? Joyce is appointed to the Director of Special Education, Elementary, for a central office, and that's going to provide an added boost as we now have leadership both for our elementary schools as well as our secondary schools. Congratulations, Joyce. Joyce, is your family here? Yes. Could you stand and be recognized? I recognize him. Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. I'd also like to recognize Pat Townsend, who has served as the program administrator, and she is formally appointed as the principal at School 15. Congratulations. Is there any family with you here tonight, Pat? Okay, great. Sharon Deli is the new principal at School 46. Congratulations. Sharon provided a terrific leadership in helping us improve dramatically, working closely with Sharon Jackson at School 9, and really getting terrific results. She's been the acting principal at School 46, and so pleased to have her. Is there any family here with you tonight, Sharon? Oh. They're playing golf, but you are surrounded by your 46 school family. Thank you for being here tonight. At school number 2, Michelle LaCoria Lampe is now at school 12 as the principal, and I'd like to recognize Najma Abdul Mateen, who will be the acting principal at school 2. Najma? Now, I know there's family with you because I recognize, could your support family please stand? Ali, oh, great, terrific. Congratulations. With the retirement of Denny Malinowski from the School of Skilled Trades, Kathy Hargis will serve as the acting principal. Kathy, are you here? Okay, moving along. We have a new appointment as assistant principal at Thomas Jefferson High School, Loretta Holloman. Loretta, are you here? Congratulations, Loretta. And is there any family with you tonight? Wonderful. The new assistant principal at Monroe High School, Raquel Rojas. Raquel, are you here? Congratulations, Raquel. And is there any family with you here tonight? Could you stand? Great. Congratulations. Another assistant principal at Monroe High, Jean Markman. Jean, are you here tonight? Congratulations, Jean. Any family with you here, Jean? Great. And I won't mispronounce it this time. Our assistant principal at School 9, Bernice Green. Bernice, are you here? Congratulations. The assistant principal at the International Finance and Economic Development Center, Career High School, at Franklin, Uma Mehta. Uma, will you stand, please? Is there any family here with you, Uma, tonight? Okay. School 14, an assistant principal appointment at school number 14, Mark Matthews. Mark, are you here this evening? And your family? Wow, terrific. Congratulations, Mark. At John Marshall High School, assistant principal, Linda M. Mortis. Linda, are you here tonight? Okay, moving on. Also at John Marshall High School, assistant principal, Anthony Bianchi. Are you here tonight? Okay. Again, William Thurston from John Marshall High School. Jason Muhammad, John Marshall High School. And Richard Fishpera, John Marshall High School. Well, congratulations, even though you're not here. Maybe you're watching this on television live. The assistant principal for operations and student management at Global Media Arts, Jinga King, are you here? Congratulations, Jinga. An assistant principal at the Bioscience and Health Careers High School, Christine Brown Richards. Christine, congratulations. And I neglected to ask Miss King or Miss Brown Richards, are there family members here with you tonight? Could you stand? Please, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. You know, I got to tell you, the support system is so essential for so many of our leaders in our schools who work morning, noon, night, weekends. It's not easy. It's tough work. You have to be smart. You have to be on top of things. Our work is never done as we are here to serve our children, and I cannot thank the husbands and wives and brothers and sisters and family members and friends who are so important as part of that support system, and I'm so glad to see so many of you here tonight. I'm going to continue because I have a few more that I'd like to recognize. The assistant principal at School 50, Patrina Johnson. Patrina? Any family with you tonight? Your School 50 family. Great. School 12, Carmen Bermudez Merner. Carmen, congratulations. Is there any family with you here tonight, Carmen? Oh, wonderful. Wow. Great that you're here. At School 2, the acting assistant principal, James Palermo. James, are you here? Great. Congratulations, James. Any family members with you? Wonderful. Congratulations. The acting assistant principal at the School of Skilled Trades, Edward Muscadri. Edward? Congratulations, Edward. Any family members? Please stand. Great. The Academy Director at Monroe High School in a critically important position focusing on teaching and learning. Lisa Young, are you here, Lisa? If you're watching this at home on TV, congratulations. At Charlotte, Anibel Soler. Congratulations, Anibel. And your family. Great. Thanks for coming. The Acting Academy Director at John Marshall, Susan L. Clark. Susan, are you here tonight? Boy, they must be, the Marshall people must be watching this on large screen. The Acting Academy Director at Dr. Freddie Thomas High School, John Rowe. John? Congratulations, John. And your spouse. Thank you for coming. And the Acting Coordinating Administrator of Special Ed for the School of Imaging and Information Technology, Tanya M. Wilson. Tanya, are you here tonight? And if you're home, congratulations, and that's it. Thank you very much, President Garcia.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. I'd like to give Commissioner Evans an opportunity to make a statement.
Yeah, I just wanted to, this district lost probably one of the greatest teachers I've ever known. Stephen Harrison, English teacher, a good friend of mine we taught at East High School on Friday, August 4th. And we're going to celebrate his life tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the AME Zion Church on Clarissa Street. And I would just ask that everyone in the community and in this room really keep his family and his friends in East High School in your prayers as they go through this very, very, very difficult time. Stephen was only 28 years old, but made a tremendous impact on the students at East and just the folks in the city of Rochester. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. I'll be traveling tomorrow. I'm sorry that I would not be able to attend, but I'm sure you will be there in representation of some of us who may not be there. I'm going to give an opportunity to Commissioner Elliott to make her statement.
Thank you, President Garcia.
You're
I
welcome.
wanted to...
Excuse me, point of order. Which agenda item are we
This is unfinished business.
from previous meetings?
Unfinished.
We should close out unfinished business and move on to new business first.
Well, since our comments dealt with something that happened at previous meetings, or this meeting.
Oh, I thought it was
Not-
this meeting.
No,
This
it's
meeting.
this meeting, President Garcia. It's in
It's this
reference to...
meeting.
Yes.
This meeting.
Okay, so we'll then make a new business. So just hold on 1 second. Then we'll closing out unfinished business from previous meeting. We'll move into new business. Commissioner Elliott.
Pardon me, President Garcia, I have an item for unfinished business.
There's no item on the agenda.
Oh, okay. So I can't comment on an item because it's not on the agenda?
Exactly. Unless you ask, can you tell me what that item is about?
Oh, yes, I merely want to inform the public about steps that are taking to act on the request for the Ethics Committee to meet that came out of last
Yes,
month's meeting.
please go ahead.
Yes, the Ethics Committee, a request
Excuse
was
me,
made at
Senator.
the July meeting that the Ethics Committee be convened to determine whether or not there was a conflict of interest on the part of one of the board commissioners, and that committee will meet on Tuesday, August 22nd, and it will almost immediately go into executive session, so for all practical purposes, it will not be an open meeting to the public, but the Ethics Committee will convene to address the issue raised last month. Thank you, President Garcia.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment that the request was made specifically by Commissioner Power.
I was just going to say Commissioner Powell has made the request, and I am forwarding a request.
Yes. Commissioner Elliott.
Thank you, President Garcia. It is important in my mind that those of us who are elected officials, that we are reporting to the community the business of our district, and that we do it in a public forum. And because we only get the resolutions on Friday, and there are 62 pages, it is unrealistic to ask for every question and to have those to be available, prepared for us by Thursday. It is important that the community know that we are doing the business of the school district. That's why they place, at least me, here. And for me, in a way in which I can communicate to this community that I'm doing my due diligence is that I ask these questions in a public forum. So let me just say that I will continue to ask these questions in a public forum. Now, one of the things we are discussing in board governance is to move the meeting out so that we'll have more time. But even there, even with that, I still think that we have a right to ask these questions publicly so that the community know what we are doing. Not only that, but it develops and enhances the relationship that the school board and the district has with the community. As we all know, it has not been good. What better way for us to ask the questions that we need to ask of the district and to make sure that the district is doing its due diligence as well? We got caught when we weren't financially responsible because this board did not ask questions. That's not going to be me, President Garcia, so that I will ask these questions in this forum. Thank you.
A comment to that, Commissioner Power?
When we talk about developing relationship with the board and the district to the community, it's important that the board also develop the relationship with the district proper. And by holding on to questions and then ambushing the staff with questions that cannot possibly be answered prior to a vote it is merely grandstanding. If you really were serious about presenting information and questions to the staff to get the answer, you could still articulate the question at the meeting, but could actually expect to get an answer if you provide the question in writing prior to the meeting.
I'm not going to get an argument.
All of us received the materials at the same time. No one has yet to complain that they haven't had enough time. All of us read that material thoroughly before we come to this meeting. And any questions that we may have prior to the meeting, we ask the staff to get some answers. which everyone seems to be able to do. All I'm asking for is for you to take all other board members equally and respect that their time and work is just as valuable as yours. That is all. So we'll move on to speakers.
Excuse me.
Well, this concludes,
I have an item for new business.
what item is that, Commissioner Thompson?
My item is actually a question, President Garcia,
Well, there's-
regarding a
You know,
few-
we don't have any item for new business. If you have a questions, ask your question, and I'll try to get an answer to it.
And I would appreciate if you don't interrupt me, then you would hear me ask my question.
Commissioner
so that an
Thompson,
answer can be
You're
provided.
out of order.
No, I'm not, President Garcia.
I am.
My question to you is,
I'm not going to
what
take your.
was the purpose
I'm not going to take
of
your
your
question.
sharing information this evening with the public about the process by which the board receives and reviews the resolutions packet?
I'm not going to answer your question, Commissioner
That's
Thompson.
your prerogative. That is my question.
We'll move on
If not,
to
answer.
speakers. Well, this concludes the business portion of our meeting. We are not going to move to listen to speakers on other than agenda items, and we have one speaker, from what I can understand from my list, and that speaker, we have 3 minutes to speak to us, and then we will move on. Thank you.